If you put a sapphire gem in, you need to then have one sapphire threshold in play for that effect to trigger. And if you had diamond, you'd need the diamond threshold and so on. So you'd obviously, to get the most out of him, you'd want to wait. So if you don't have that resource, that threshold met yet, you'd want to wait, get the threshold into play, and then get this out for the most effect. And that's all the different socketed cards. You got all these different effects, so it's very customizable how you want to play your decks, and that's another good feature of being digital only. Anything you want to add there?
No, the premise basically just behind the socketing was it, even for the PvP experience, it lets you make each card your own. It lets you go, okay, well, I want my deck to do this. I've got these cards that let me modify how they play. I can play my deck exactly how we want to.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it very unique for each player. Someone might be running Sapphire, another one Diamond, and it's always going to see something different. Unless, of course, there's a clear-cut, gem that's just far superior to the others for a certain card. But most of the time, you are going to see something unique each time, and it is a feature that is in PvP and PvE. So that makes the a lot more exciting, especially in a draft format. Socketable cards are, I think, going to be pretty powerful, and especially this guy would be a pretty top pick. So yeah, let's go back to the Kickstarter page here. I'll just have a quick scroll down. I won't go over everything. We'll have a look at this dragon. Basically each of the colours in the game. So you got the blood, the wild, the ruby, diamond, and what did I miss? Sapphire. And I think pretty sure at the start of the game in the first set there's going to be basically a dragon in each of those different colours, basically. Those different
blood and wild for set 1.
Oh, okay. So there's going to be so there's going to be 2 dragons. This is one of them, for example. They're pretty powerful cards. So this guy here, being a unique, you only have 1 in play. But this one, for example, 7 cost but 3 blood threshold. So pretty expensive, but for what it does, very powerful. So when it enters play, you basically target a champion and make them bury the top. How many cards is it? What the top of there? Oh, okay. So yeah, sorry. So when this guy comes into play, they bury 7 cards and put them into their grave. If you play another card after this and it's like 5 cost, they'll then bury another 5 cards as long as this guy's in play. Then when this guy deals combat damage to your opponent, to their champion, you may then put a target troop from that champion's graveyard into play under your control for free. So that very strong card, and as you can see from the red symbol down here, it's a legendary, so it's going to be pretty tricky to get, I would imagine. Because in a pack of cards you get 15 cards. You'll get 1 rare or a legendary. Legendary is going to be the harder ones to get. So pretty nice card, and I think most of the dragons are probably all going to be legendary. So that's one of the cool examples of the dragons there. The game, it's going to have tournaments. It's going to have one of their stretch goals here was to have playback support. So you might want to watch a mate's game that he played the day before, or a tournament. You can then watch people's games. It's sort of like watching replays. There's going to be, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a spectator mode as well, so you can watch people playing. Let's have a look. So, don't really need to look at this stuff here. I'll just scroll back up. Probably missed a few things. There's an example of what the actual game itself looks like. So you've got the board, there's their hand, and so on, the heroes. Pretty nice looking interface. Let's see. There's if you go to the Kickstarter page, there's a video here showing you how to play. On the website there's other videos to look at as well if you want to see how the game is played or see it in action. But yeah, and here's another example. I think this is a transforming card, I think. Yes, so here we go. This Orc Gladiator here, I'll bring it up. It's another example of a transforming card. Now this one, the other transforming card we showed earlier, the Ascetic Aspirant, had 3 different states. This one here, for example, you put into play, then if you've got 4 resources and you can tap her, it'll battle target opposing troop. So you can target, say, a weak troop, kill it, and if you do kill it, and she stays alive, it'll then transform into the High Cleric, which I'll bring up, which is this one here. And then basically this here is going to be very powerful in pretty much all Ruby decks, because it makes all your cards deal double damage. So all your troops, all your spells, double damage. So pretty crazy. I like that card a lot. Pretty obvious why. So yeah, that's a pretty cool transforming card there. One thing I must add is the artwork in this game is amazing. Yeah, what do you think of that card there?
Oh, I like it. There's a lot of room there to. It's pretty easy to manage to make transform, but once you do, it just becomes so strong that your opponent, they have to deal with it. Otherwise, it can single-handedly win you the game pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you, like you said, if you transform her, which is pretty easy to do. I'll just actually quickly bring up. Yeah, like say for example, you're running a lot of basically a lot of spells that do direct damage, like burn. I'll bring that up. Then having her in play is just going to make all your cards, like burn only deals 2 damage to whatever you want, but it's only a 1 cost, and that'll do 4 with her in play. And then you've got other cards like is it Ragefire? I think Ragefire's, it's got an interesting mechanic that is unique to Hex.
Escalation, yep.
Yep, so I'll quickly bring that up to show everyone. I don't know why this website's so laggy when streaming. I typed this about
Internet Explorer.
I typed it about 5 seconds ago and it's still waiting. Alright, there we go. So here's Ragefire. I'll bring it up in a bigger view. That lets me. Alright, so Ragefire is a Ruby card. Pretty cool artwork. It deals 2 damage to target champion, so similar to Burn, target champion or troop. It is, however, 2 costs with a 2 threshold, but it has escalation, which is the unique thing for Hex, and pretty much unique because of the fact you can only do it in a digital game. So yeah, escalation. What it does is when you play this, after it resolves, so after it's finished doing its effect, you then shuffle it back into your deck, and then you double the number, so the damage number here of 2, you double that on each copy of this card you have in your deck. So say you're running 4 of them, which you probably would be, you've used one of them, it goes back into your deck, and then all copies of this card in your deck now do 4 damage. Then if you draw another one, that's all going to be 8 damage on all 4 copies of that card. Now, if you imagine this card here with the with this gladiator here that makes your cards all do double damage, you're going to quickly kill your opponents if you manage to get that combo happening, and that is pretty damn powerful. And yeah, these are both, I'm pretty sure they're both PvP cards, yep, pretty sure. So yeah, pretty nice. I'd definitely be building some decks around her with some Ragefires. They're very powerful cards. That's another cool example of the transforming cards there. So let's go back to the top of the website here. So let's have a look. We got artifacts. Have a look at a couple of artifacts. Pretty standard affair. You got some interesting things like Time Bug here. Now, a cool thing about Time Bug is a cool thing they've done is with the equipment that you're going to be earning from PvE. This guy, when it does load here we go. So you can get this equipment for him that you can only earn in the PvE doing raids and whatnot. He actually has a dagger here, a Blade of Judgment, and it just says Time Bug is the master of time. So that's another thing they've left in the game, so you have to find out what that actually does, because they're not going to tell you. And they've done that, probably multiple times, and there might be clues to figure out what it does, or maybe just use it and try and work it out. And something exciting to play around with. It's a pretty interesting card by itself, in the fact that if you actually get 2 of them into play, and that you can make them both deal damage to a champion, you can then take another turn after your turn. So pretty strong, but you would never really see this played in a draft scenario because you're unlikely to ever get 2 of them, and then unlikely to ever draw both of them. But yeah, it could make some interesting decks for PvE, where you can maybe probably build a deck around him and just keep taking turns. And then another thing, the equipment you can add to him, you can make it so you can have 8 of them in your deck, so you ensure getting them into play, and then hopefully getting more turns to then take out that raid boss or whatever the case may be. So yeah, we've got the. I think we've seen pretty much cards from all the different shards, but you got each different. You got blood, wild, diamond. They all have different things that they excel at. Sorry, whereas ruby is a very aggressive. Very aggressive with the orcs that just quickly get into play and start doing a lot of damage, and then you've got the very strong spells like the ones we showed, like Rage Fire and Burn, and just very aggressive, can finish the game very quickly. Whereas you might have with Wild, for example, you've got a lot of a lot of creatures that are very powerful, take longer to get into play, but then they're just a lot of big creatures. But they also do have a lot of there's a lot of variety and a lot of options pretty much for all the colours. Wild, for example, does have a lot of big creatures, but you can also run a Shin Hair deck that is all about just pumping out as many rabbits as you can. Blood also has some Shin Hair as well. So here's some examples of the Shin Hair here. So this is a very cost-effective card here that runs to the litter. It's only 2 cost, 1 threshold, but it creates 3 battle hoppers, which is these guys here. So it's a one cost, but it's 0/1. So you're paying 2, you get 3 of those. And then you'd use cards like not that one for example, but there are similar ones where it buffs up all your creatures, and then you can all of a sudden you've got a whole bunch of rabbits that do a lot of damage. And so there's a lot of options. You can build powerful wild deck, or something that pumps out heaps of creatures and tries to just overwhelm with sheer odds. And then you got Sapphire with you got some counter spells and more about controlling your opponent's playstyle, so the game is under your control. Diamond has a lot of stuff to do with life gain and inspire, the mechanic that we saw before. There's a lot of, like Ruby has this inspire, and Diamond as well. Making your troops a bit stronger and all that sort of jazz. So what should we talk about now? We'll have a look at the tournament, shall we? Why not?
Yeah, no, Zoic did announce a few things for tournaments and potential tournament support as well. They're also toying with the idea of having real cash prizes for tournaments as well in the future.
Yeah, that's something that probably won't be in at the start of the launch, just because there is legal issues and stuff that they have to work out the kinks for and all that sort of stuff. But that is something they are definitely hoping to have in the game. So people, if you're paying to enter the tournament, they're hoping that they can then, reward the winners with actual money rewards and stuff. And they are, definitely trying to turn this game into a, something in esports to take, for esports, like Dota and League of Legends. They want this to be the premium TCG that people are playing and spectating. Like for example with our Twitch stream here, we plan to be streaming drafts and tournaments and all that sort of cool stuff. They want that sort of stuff happening with Hex as well, and that's why they plan to support it with cash prizes. And you got all the different tournaments. So you got constructed queue, booster drafts, competitive drafts, and all this different. Depending on how you want to play, maybe you're a more you're new to the game, so you're not really ready to go into a more serious draft where you have to be in the top 2. For example, this one here, the top 2 players will get a prize. Where I think it's the Swift draft. Whereas as long as you win at least one game, so at least one win, I think you'll maybe earn another pack or something like that. You can still win something. So that's probably more designed for newer players who aren't yet ready to take on the more serious drafting formats. You want to practice a bit more and get used to it and still have a chance to win something, so that's nice. They got lots of different. There's always going to be a cool thing about the Kickstarter, because there was we got, I think, probably over 20,000 backers along with the PayPal and stuff and the Slacker backers. So there's going to be a lot of people, and some of the Kickstarter tiers actually gave. For example, for people who backed the game for over $250, they're all going to be getting 1 free draft per week for a year. There's others that get some better deals and whatnot. So that basically ensures there's always going to be games up for people to join. So straight away when the game, beta even, there's going to be drafts and tournaments running pretty much